What if I told you that your most anticipated video game might not come out for years? Or that the entire gaming industry as we know it could be on the brink of a massive change? Sounds pretty intense, right? Today, we're diving into some pretty heavy stuff that's shaking up the video game world. Now, I'm sure you've heard about those Hollywood actors going on strike, right? Well, hold on to your controllers because it looks like our beloved game developers are following suit. That's right, folks. The people who bring our favorite virtual worlds to life are putting down their coding keyboards and picking up picket signs. And let me tell you, this isn't just about a bunch of devs wanting longer coffee breaks. This is serious business that could change the face of gaming as we know it. So grab your favorite energy drink, settle into your gaming chair, and let's break down what's going on in this digital drama. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why your most anticipated games might be showing up fashionably late to the party.
Well, at midnight, actors who portray video game characters are going on strike.
I do think there are some very popular games that will be impacted in the short term, and then over a longer term, even more will be impacted.
Now you might be wondering what's got these coding wizards so riled up. Well, my friends, it's not just one thing, it's a whole buffet of issues that have been simmering for years. Let's break it down, shall we? First up, we've got the classic villain, money. Surprise, surprise, right? But here's the thing. Game development isn't just a bunch of people playing games all day. It's a grueling, high-stress job that often involves crazy long hours, especially as release dates loom closer. You've probably heard of crunch time. That's when devs are practically living at the office, surviving on energy drinks and pure determination. And guess what? A lot of them aren't getting paid overtime for those extra hours. But wait, there's more. Job security in the gaming industry is about as stable as your internet connection during a heated online match. Studios often hire developers for specific projects, then show them the door once the game ships. It's like being on a constant job hunt, and let me tell you, that's not exactly great for the old stress levels. And let's not forget about creative freedom. Many developers feel like they're stuck in a loop, churning out sequels or copycat games because that's what the big bosses think will sell. It's like being a master chef, but only being allowed to cook mac and cheese every day. Sure, mac and cheese is great, but eventually you're gonna want to flex those culinary muscles, you know? Last but not least, there's the issue of proper credit. How many times have you sat through those end credits of a game, watching name after name scroll by? A lot of developers feel like their contributions aren't being properly recognized, especially when it comes to things like award shows or media coverage. It's like being the unsung hero of the gaming world, and let's face it, everyone likes a little recognition now and then. So when you add all these ingredients together, you get a recipe for one spicy developer strike. And trust me, this isn't just a flash in the pan. It's a movement that's been building up steam for a long time. All right, so now that we know why developers are striking, let's talk about what this means for us, the gamers. Brace yourselves because I've got some bad news. Those game release dates you've been counting down to, they might need to be revised. Game development is like this massive, intricate machine. Every part needs to work together perfectly to create the final product. When one cog in that machine stops turning, say, the developers go on strike, the whole thing grinds to a halt. It's like trying to drive a car with no engine. You're not going anywhere fast. I know what you're thinking. Can't they just hire new developers? Well, sure, in theory. But here's the thing. Game development isn't like flipping burgers. No offense to burger flippers, you guys are the real MVPs. It takes years of experience and specialized skills to create the kind of games we love. You can't just pluck someone off the street and expect them to code the next God of War or Elden Ring. Plus, even if studios could find replacement developers, bringing new people onto a project midway through is like trying to jump onto a moving train. It takes time for them to get up to speed, understand the existing code, and mesh with the team's workflow. And in the fast-paced world of game development, time is money. So, what does this all mean for our gaming calendars? Well, my friends, it means we might need to exercise something we gamers aren't always known for: patience. Games that were supposed to drop this holiday season, they might be pushed back to next year. That sequel you've been dying to play, it could be delayed indefinitely, but before you start rage quitting reality, remember this. A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. I mean, we've all played games that were clearly pushed out before they were ready, right? Glitches, bugs, unfinished features, it's not a fun experience. So while these delays might sting in the short term, they could lead to better, more polished games in the long run. Now let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture. This isn't just about a few games being delayed. This strike could potentially reshape the entire gaming industry. And honestly, that might not be such a bad thing. For starters, if developers' demands are met, we could see a shift towards better working conditions in the industry. That means happier, healthier developers who aren't burned out from constant crunch time. And you know what happy developers make? Better games. It's like the difference between a chef cooking with passion versus one who's just going through the motions. You can taste it in the final product. We might also see a push towards more creative and innovative games. If developers feel more secure in their jobs and have more creative freedom, they might be willing to take bigger risks. Instead of churning out the same old sequels and remakes, we could see more original IPs and fresh ideas. And let's be honest, as much as we love our favorite franchises, there's nothing quite like diving into a completely new gaming experience. There's also the potential for better recognition of the people behind our favorite games. This could lead to a greater appreciation for the art of game development, both within the industry and among us gamers. Maybe we'll start seeing more developer-focused awards at gaming events, or more behind-the-scenes content showing the hard work that goes into creating these virtual worlds. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. If the strike drags on, smaller studios might struggle to stay afloat. We could see some consolidation in the industry, with bigger companies absorbing smaller ones. This could potentially lead to less diversity in the types of games being made, which would be a real shame. There's also the question of how this will affect game prices. If development costs go up due to better pay and working conditions, those costs might get passed on to us, the consumers. Are we willing to pay more for our games if it means the people making them are being treated fairly? It's a tough question, and one that the industry will have to grapple with. So here we are, caught in the middle of this industry shakeup. As gamers, what's our role in all this? Well, my friends, we've got some choices to make. First off, we can choose to be understanding. I know, waiting for a game you've been hyped about for years is tough. But remember, the developers making these games are real people with real lives and real problems. They're not just faceless code monkeys churning out our entertainment. They're artists, storytellers, and innovators who pour their hearts and souls into creating these amazing experiences for us. So maybe, just maybe, we can cut them some slack if they need to take a stand for better working conditions. We can also choose to be vocal about our support. The gaming community is one of the most passionate and engaged audiences out there. When we rally behind a cause, people take notice. So if you believe in what these developers are fighting for, don't be afraid to make some noise about it. Tweet about it, talk about it on forums, bring it up in your Discord chats. Let the industry know that we care about the people behind our favorite games. But here's where it gets tricky. We also need to be mindful of how we express that support. Review bombing games or harassing developers who aren't on strike. That's not cool, folks. Remember, not every developer has the luxury of being able to strike, and some might not agree with the strike at all. This isn't a black and white issue, and treating it like one only makes things worse. Instead, we can focus on positive actions. Maybe consider supporting indie developers who are already practicing fair labor policies, or check out some older games you might have missed while you wait for new releases. Hey, it's a great time to tackle that backlog, right? And let's not forget we can educate ourselves. The more we understand about game development and the issues facing the industry, the better equipped we are to be part of the solution. So don't just take my word for it. Do your own research, listen to developers' stories, and form your own opinions. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about why developers are striking, how it's affecting game releases, what it means for the industry, and how we as gamers can respond. But the big question remains, what's next? Well, if I had a crystal ball, I'd be using it to peek at some unreleased games instead of predicting the future. But since I don't, let's speculate a bit. In the short term, we're probably going to see some turbulence. Game releases will be delayed, development schedules will be shuffled, and there might be some tense standoffs between developers and studio executives. It's not going to be pretty and it's not going to be comfortable. But you know what? Sometimes you need to go through some growing pains to come out stronger on the other side. In the medium term, we might see some changes in how games are developed and marketed. Studios might become more transparent about their development processes and working conditions. We might see more realistic release dates being set rather than the rushed deadlines that often lead to crunch time. And who knows? Maybe we'll even see some new studios popping up, founded by developers who want to do things differently. And in the long term, well, that's where things get really interesting. We could be looking at a completely transformed gaming industry, one where developers are treated fairly, where creativity is valued over cookie-cutter sequels, and where the relationship between gamers and game makers is more transparent and respectful. Imagine a world where game development is seen as a stable, respectable career rather than a burnout-inducing grind, where developers have the time and resources to really polish their games before release, where innovative ideas are given the chance to flourish, leading to new genres and experiences we haven't even dreamed of yet. Of course, this is all speculation. The future of gaming will be shaped by countless decisions and actions from big studio executives down to individual gamers like you and me. But one thing's for sure, we're living through a pivotal moment in gaming history, so there you have it. The lowdown on the game developer strike and what it means for all of us. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but hey, that's what makes it interesting, right? I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have an amazing day.